Hello, viewers of JDA. This is episode number 3. I am Cal Melrose, the ENFJ, and I'll let the other two new members introduce themselves.
Hello, I am Ethan, and I am an INFP.
What's up, guys? I'm Yuri. I'm an INFJ. Good to be here.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, I'll kick things off with my dream. Weird thing. It's a recurring dream that I've had. It's about transportation and flying, and it's about flying to like go meet up with my dad, which is so weird. This has happened like twice now. And pretty much the one I had last night is I was like going in between airports, and I was traveling from, I think, where I am to Newark and then on to Boston. And like when I got to Newark, like my layover was like a lot shorter than it was. And I was like, oh crap, like I got to get onto this next small puddle jumper from Newark, New Jersey to Boston. And like my and I was just trying to like get to go see, like I thought maybe my dad was with me at that point, but like, or I was trying to see him. And then it also like strangely connected to a previous dream where I had dreamed that I was back in Boston with one of my best friends, where's a place that I used to live. And then this is the weirder part, kind of backing up a little bit. And this is where this also ties into another dream that I'll get into in a second. But at one point I was flying in the plane, and then the plane's like, all right, we're going to lower our altitude. And, you know, I was looking out the window and I saw like the city skyscrapers and like us start to descend. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we descending into the middle of like a city? And then like out of nowhere, we just like go like kind of into the depths of the city, into like a real like urban area with really tall buildings on each side. And we like land on the ground, like in the middle of the city. Like underneath an overpass or something like that. Then I think we picked up a celebrity. And then at that point, the dream just jumped to me being in Newark. I guess those city skyscrapers were probably New York, because Newark is outside of New York. It's like an auxiliary thing that sorry, I'm getting distracted here. It's an auxiliary like airport. It's like the third airport in the tri-state area that a lot of big commercial flights go into. But like it's also like a big regional hub to get to other places in the Northeast. And I'm originally from the Northeast, you know, so like a lot of really interesting things are kind of coming up in this dream, you know, like what, like, you know, location, city, you know, means of transportation, plane, kind of weird sentiment or a little bit of anxiety, you know, which airports like are pretty anxiety inducing. Let's be honest here. Like people miss their flights and people get scared, and then like you land and then you thought your layover was 2 hours and ends up being 45 minutes, which is kind of, I think, what happened in the dream last night. And I think it was trying to get back home in some ways, you know, that's kind of the sentiment I got, like traveling and moving towards a place that I had been from and are familiar with. So it's almost like getting in touch with the familiar, but also like being like in an unknown, like new, like dark area, because there's tall skyscrapers that were really gray and dark, and it was at night, you know, it was a night flight that I was taking. So like a lot of interesting sentiment kind of came up within that dream. But I don't know, what I'm going to open up to you guys. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on this?
Was it like a contrast between like something that was familiar, but also in some ways it changed, like with the skyscrapers and stuff?
That could be it too, you know. It, like, to me, the skyscrapers were talking about something overwhelming that I'm not like necessarily like used to, you know, because I'm living in a more rural area. But I'm also like from that area too. So, you know, maybe it's kind of like things have changed, you know, since I've been back, or since I'm trying to go back, right? Like, you know, I haven't been back home in a little while. And now in this dream, I'm moving, right? Hence the transportation, or like kind of the flow of the dream to another location. And like things are a little bit darker and scarier and grayer than they once were, you know? So yeah, I think some of that contrast for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like you're revisiting something from your past, or something that's familiar, but it's changed in some way and then it looks like it's changed in a negative way, right?
Yeah, no, and I think it's interesting too. I think that kind of ties into like my dad, or what what my mind is representing, what the representation of my dad is in the dream. And I'm gonna like look this up right now. I use Auntie Flo, which I've been using the last few times. It's great, but like this is pretty much a father or dad is an interesting symbol in one's dream. There is one exception to the rule regarding dreams about other people, and that dream is about family. A father in one's dream is associated with control in life. So I think that's telling, right? So it's like I can't control how things from my past have changed, and like now I have to catch up to them. And like it's giving me anxiety because the layover wasn't 2 hours, it was 45 minutes or something like that. I'm like thrown off a little bit there. Interesting.
So you think it's not uh, your dad in the dream is not representing your dad necessarily, but more of a like the idea of power or control.
And control, I think so, because it like he wasn't in the dream, it was just like my thought of going to see him for some reason, which I think is more of an abstract representation than an actual literal representation.
Right. Because if
That
he was actually there, if he was like a character in the dream, then that would be more likely that if the dream was actually about him, right? About your dad.
Yeah, and I've had dreams with him in them, but like these transportation dreams, and I had another one that was really similar where we got rerouted, where we had to go, oh my God, okay, yeah, this is where it kind of comes full circle a little bit. Like I had another dream probably like a month or two ago where like we took off, but then we had to go and land back at the same airport and revisit like the airport. And I think I was also going to see my dad too, in that dream or something, like something weird like that. Or my dad was somehow in the background or involved. I don't know. And yeah, I think it was like I remember in that dream, the previous one, like I landed and then I was like at the front gate or like the ticket counter. And I was like all confused. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like I need to get back on my flight. So it's just this stress and anxiety of like, moving. It wasn't work. It just like wasn't working for me. And I'm gonna look up like airplanes in particular on Auntie Flo. Okay.
So is it a recurring thing that you dream about traveling and your dad and anxiety
Yep.
at the same time?
Or control too. Like I've had a dream with him and my mom on a train, which is really interesting. And they were like trying to get me to calm down to my buddies that were on the train, and they were like very paternalistic in that dream. And they're like, you need to like straighten out your friends. And I went up and spoke with them, and I like fed them food or like quelled them, and they started to behave a lot better. So it's something like I don't know, like authority and control. I think it's kind of those ideas related to one another. And like, because, your parents are the ones that, at an early age were supposed to be like raising you and creating order and control in your life, in some sense. But like, it's really interesting that this keeps popping up with trains and airplanes in particular. And like, I'm reading this right now, and I'm going to do screen share. Hold on. Oh, host disabled, participant screen share.
Oh.
All right, I won't do that. Don't worry about it. So it says spiritually, airplanes symbolize a portion of your life's journey. Yes, this dream is spiritually interesting. Dreams of aircraft and airplanes can provide us with deep psychological meaning. Old Dusty, you have a long way to travel before you can get to your conscious thoughts. Ooh, that's an interesting thought. I found this quote rather intriguing, right? Maybe it's like my conscious mind or my unconscious mind is trying to travel to get more control of things. So could be SI trickster trying to say something, self-control. That's what I'm maybe seeing from
Would it be more of like someone else controlling you though? Because or I would think if your dad's involved, then it's like an outside force that's doing the controlling and who has the authority, right?
Or it's, I have no control because it is SI trickster. too, you know?
It also seemed like that dream in the train you were talking about, it seemed like your parents were obligating you to do something, right? And you were like, okay,
Yeah,
I could do this. That
they're
sounded
like
like
working
exciting.
social order in some ways, you know, like the better social behavior. That's kind of what they were trying to instill on me. And, you know, I felt obligated because they were obligating me to say something. And, you know, maybe I've kind of lost that inside me somewhere in my mind, and I'm trying to get back to it, you know, something that has been familiar.
Or something that you have to travel to get to, apparently.
Maybe
Right.
travel within my own mind. Maybe that's what that's representing, you know?
Maybe, yeah, maybe does it represent distance from that part of you that you've that that you're trying
Yeah,
to.
because think about it. You can go long distance in an airplane in a really short amount of time. You know, even trains you can too. There's no traffic on, you know, on the rail system really.
Right. If it was driving, then that's something else, right? So
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something to the difference. Well, also with the plane dreams that I've had, they've been like dissenting, you know, and one of them, like, I thought this one was crazy. Like, I thought we were dissenting and I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, this is the end. And I saw like the buildings come up and we were like really low altitude. And I closed my eyes, and then I opened it and we had survived somehow. Like he had pulled out of the nosedive, you know. And just, I think with that dream, what that signified to me was that it was just like telling me that I need to let go and just accept that things are out of my control, right?
to have faith.
Yeah, have faith, you know, blind faith. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's about control. It's about um, getting back to the familiar. To me, I don't know. It just, it feels like this is SITE to me in some sense. So maybe I'm biased there, but then there's also like the social order to it too, which is probably a little bit more FE-ish. So I don't know.
I
Interesting.
I can see because like coming back to the familiar, that also represents SI, right? Because it's stuff
Yeah.
from your past, and also like your family having to do with it. Maybe it's also um a thing in terms of your past. So it seems
Yeah.
like it's surrounding SI a lot, or at least from what I gather from these.
Yeah. Very deep in my unconscious mind, you know, definitely. So yeah, another SI dream, like really interesting. And like, yeah, maybe I do just need to go back east and go and live in the city for a second, you know, and just familiarize myself with that, you know, because maybe I feel like I'm a little out of control not being in that type of environment.
Right.
I don't know.
Or maybe as you maybe according to your dream, there's something unexpected there, or there's something that has changed about the environment there.
Yeah, kind of going blast from the past, you know, like, you know, because I've always had kind of the personal philosophy or belief that like you can kind of see yourself, like pin yourself to like, oh, this was me living in New York City at 23 or something. That I didn't live in New York City at 23, but like, for example, and then, you know, 5 years later at 28, you go and revisit that and you're like, holy shit, I've changed a lot. Like, I wouldn't even hang out in this neighborhood anymore, or something like that, you know, like the buildings look too archaic and tall and it just doesn't feel right anymore, you know, maybe something like that. But like also like trying to think of the idea of like traveling like to something too, right? There's a lot of movement and motion. I don't know. I think I'm a little bit stuck here.
Hey, Callum,
Yeah, go ahead.
what keeps you in a place for a certain amount of time? Like what makes you stay in a place?
I think it's social bonds, the people
Social
around.
bonds, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
affiliative, right? So that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, like what would you call home?
I think you're hitting the nail on the head here. Oh God, I don't know anymore. Like I've moved around so much in my 20s. I don't even I guess home is where the heart is, but that's a little bit.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty sure like an SI trickster or an SI demon coined that term because like honestly, like okay, so like I know my childhood was like it was like really disruptive or whatever.
Yeah.
I really didn't stay in one place. And when everybody else talks about their childhood, they're always like, oh, this is like my home, like I went to a certain school and I grew up with the same friends and I did this and I did that and stuff. And like I can't really relate to that. I've always had it like, I guess, like a different way to see like home, because
Yeah.
it was never like, I guess, like that constant. It was more about like what social unit or what social bond I familiarized myself with at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
So I mean,
Like it's even weird for me now to say where I'm from, because I've spent time in like a bunch of different places a lot since I graduated college like 6 years ago.
yeah.
And it's like I just say I'm from the Northeast at this point, and I'm living on the other side of the country right now, and I'm just like,
Yeah, dude, I just say I'm from everywhere, man.
yeah.
Pretty
Like,
much.
oh, where are you from? I'm like, I don't know, Northeast, like spent time
Around there,
in
in that vicinity.
yeah, that general region. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it's like the subjectivity of SI Trickster being
Yeah.
like, well, I don't know where home is, I don't know where my past is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Exactly.
deeper. I think kind of taking it down a couple layers. That's really maybe what that dream is getting at, or those dreams, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. I think you should take some more time to think about that. Like, wait, what is home, and why did you stay in a certain place?
I'm gonna write
And
that
why
down.
would you want to move to a new place? And when is it time to move to a new place?
Yeah, because I don't think I know the answer to that question at all. Like I sometimes I ask that to myself, and I'm like, all right, if I were to move, because I'm just thinking idealistically future possibilities, right? I'm just like, if I were to move, where would I move? And I'm like, I don't think I'd move anywhere. I really like it here, and like it's just like a weird thought, that I found myself in a place I really like. It's just like almost like not daunting, but like a bit like, oh, all right, well, I guess this is it. I'm just going to continue living on here. Maybe I don't need to move anywhere.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
there's
it works.
anything else out there.
Yeah, it works for now. It's nice.
Yeah, it works for now too. Yeah, exactly. Huh.
Yeah. Ethan, what would be your contrasting opinion on home?
I mean, I've pretty much stayed in the same place for my whole life, like here in Hong Kong. So, I mean, I don't know what it's like to uh, to not really have that. But it's true though. I've never, even though I've stayed here for so long, I've never really felt like this was home. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint what actually feels like home, right? For me personally.
Yeah. And I think it's tough too, because it's like a different question to ask somebody in their 20s than somebody in their 50s, who's been in a place for 30 years. Like, well, it's a little easier to answer that question.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's like bouncing around,
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
the idea is that when you're dreaming, it's like your unconscious talking to you, right? Is that the idea? Even
we're figuring that out right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like we're wondering if there's like subconscious focused dreams or like specific function dreams, or because I've seemed to have a few SITE very deep in my unconscious dreams, at least recently. And then I don't know. I mean, like on the last episode, we were talking about how maybe it's like that's where you should focus, like maybe I should focus deep into my shadow and try and bring something out. Or, like if I were to have like a more ISTP focused dream in my subconscious, maybe that'd be about like adventure, action, or like, just telling the real and practical and being like, this is stupid, I'm not doing this, or something that I like. I think Lev had a dream about that too, where his ISTP shadow was trying to communicate to him to say like, because he kept having like this is in the previous episode, but pretty much he kept having dreams that he was like failing tests, and then at one point, I think in one of his dreams, he just went up to the test. He's like, "This is so arbitrary and stupid. Like, like, what the hell is the point of this? It's almost like SE critic, like reality, like this is really dumb, and that's something an ISTP would probably do. They'd just be like, I don't need to know this. Like, I only need to know what I need to know to do the job, kind of like that mentality. So like we're still trying to figure out, like, I guess the theory or the thought now is that like it could go into different parts of your mind trying to tell you different things, and maybe that's like what you should be focusing on.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, to be honest.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of came up with a similar theory a couple months ago. I was talking to somebody on Discord, and I was just like a random person that like I ran into on a random server that I randomly joined, and I started talking to him about dreams, and like when I was talking about it, I realized that my unconscious was playing a big role in my dreams. Whenever I do dream, wait, this is poor memory. I'm trying to remember. I should really write my stuff down.
Dude, I mean, I'm an SE user. I write my shit down, and I've gotten in the habit where I wake up at like 5 a.m. I'm like, oh, gotta write it down.
Yeah, I should really practice that, man. I had some terrible habits. Some terrible.
You'll get to it.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I wrote something down today. I started a journal today. I got this little journal a couple of years ago from one of my old pastors, and he we were all supposed to write on it and journal it, and everybody completed the assignment or did what they had to do with it, except for me. It's been sitting empty for about 4 years now.
Nice. We got Lev joining.
What's up, Lev? Oh, he's still connecting the audio.
Yeah.
So I barely started using it today, and I wrote something down that I texted a friend of mine this morning, and I wrote it down so I won't forget it. So it will, every time that I feel a certain way or I feel discouraged, I'm gonna go back and look at the journal, and I'm gonna read at what I said that morning, because like emotions are fleeting, but like I think that emotion was like real and like authentic. So
Yes.
I wrote it in there, and it's gonna serve as the totem,
Sweet. Make your own totem.
Yeah, exactly. I have
Cool.
There's
very
something.
little totems.
There's something.
I have very little
universal about
totems, and then I
writing
won.
things down.
What is
Sorry.
it?
No,
I
just
just
think there's something universal about writing things down. Like I don't know. Even being an SI user, I just have the urge to write things down all the time. Because I think
Yeah.
no matter what, there are always things that you're gonna forget. Like whether
100%.
it's like because once you're out of the moment, or I don't know how to put it. You'll never be in the same moment.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's fleeting.
Right. Yeah, what were you gonna
Cool.
say, Uriel?
I forgot already.
Yeah.
I started looking at Lev because he was gonna say something.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, Lev?
Lev, that beard is not very SI
not
parent
very
of you.
Cool.
All right.
Well, anybody else got any other dreams?
All right.
Did I make it?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just was working on my setup. I have no dreams. Actually, let me quickly look because I just got here. Sorry to just like bomb this interview. How's the
No.
video going so far?
Going well, man. I was just talking about my plane dreams, trying to find my dad or something. There's a lot to that.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Was hosting live streams then appear at a funeral? Okay, that's sad. Yeah, nothing on my end. All right, I guess we can call it a video.
You bastard.
Honestly.
I can-
Yeah, go ahead. Somebody else go ahead while I look.
All right. I have a. Let me see if I can find the entry for it. But I had a dream where I remembered only part of the dream. I think the environment was like a park, and then I was with probably other people from my high school, like in some sort of gathering. Maybe it's like it's like those camps maybe that you have in high school, or like outings. But that's like a recurring dream in terms of environments, like just being somewhere with people I knew. And then
Yeah, common.
yeah, apparently like my friend, I was talking to my ENFP friend as well, and he has similar dreams. I guess it's just common. But it was in this park and it was really nice. But then somehow me and I think two other friends ventured outside of the park, and then there's this highway, and then past the highway was like a desert. For some reason, we went over to the desert, and then when we were coming back, I saw, and there were lots of cars passing by, right, on the highway. But then for some reason, we weren't afraid of them. We weren't afraid of getting hit. We were just crossing the road, and I saw a lot of snakes, but they were dead snakes.
Oh,
They
okay,
were
that's
just-
important.
Right. But it was just like, oh, that's sad. Like there are lots of dead, shriveled up snakes here, right? But then I saw one of the snakes, and it was I thought it was dead, but it was blue. Uh, I remember distinctly. It was blue, red, and yellow, and it was like a really nice color, right? It was like a mosaic looking snake. And then I decided, oh, I have to save this snake. No, well, we passed by it at first, and then I thought, okay, I have to save it, and then I went back, and then I took the snake, and then apparently there was like a fountain really nearby, because like it was the highway was right next to the park that we were just at, right? And then in the park there was like a fountain, and then I took the snake to the fountain, and then it drank water, and then apparently immediately, uh, it just like filled with life again, like. It just looked obvious that it was coming back alive, and for some reason I felt just this immense um, joy. Like that was just a really distinct thing about the dream, that I saved the snake and then I felt really happy. So I don't
That's,
know.
I would say it sounds like a very positive dream.
Yeah.
There's a lot in that though.
Mhm.
Huh.
I think just the most important parts of it is that I saw this snake. I wasn't gonna save it, and then I thought about saving it. I went back and saved it, and then I felt really happy about it. So I feel like that's something to do with my unconscious, because perhaps it's epi nemesis of
Yep.
trying to, or just ENFJ unconscious in general, just trying saving things. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, I've definitely I got that initial impression. I think the most snake dreams are like pretty common. It's typically about power and energy within, or like something repressed. But it's really interesting that there's a bunch of dead ones that you ignored. It's like almost like I would say previous passions, or like maybe just other passions that you're ignoring. But then you focused on one that had primary colors on it, which I think definitely is very significant. And I don't know, maybe it was like if you feed it nourishment and bring it back to the fountain, like a fountain of youth or something, like kind of like that idea, where you like can rebirth it or grow. Maybe you'll find like I guess the beginning of like being able to do art maybe, or something like that, or like express your inner passions, because like with it, think about it, with primary colors you can make like three more colors out of that, right? Or more. Wait, how many? I'm not artistic, but like, those are the primary colors that you start with, and then you start to combine them and you can make other colors out of it. And it was interesting that you said mosaic too. So it's typically I'm getting the sense that there's an artistic element to that. So maybe it's like a fusion of your more artistic INFP side, and then you going into that ENFJ unconscious and saving some part of yourself to then nourish and bring out and be able to transcend, because typically snake dreams are about transcendence, you know. And so it's like you want to like, I don't know, it sounds like you kind of want to bring out or progress or like transcend your like inner artist or something, if that makes sense, or save it.
Right. That's really interesting because I thought it had to do with the fact that I was saving something and and then just feeling gratitude or feeling happiness from doing things for other people or like an animal. But it's yeah, that I think that's we can take it to a more abstract like and see
Of
it
course.
in a more abstract sort of way. And yeah, that's really interesting. It's like I see these other dead snakes. And that might be maybe the times that I failed to nurture something or the missed opportunities to
Yeah,
nurture something.
definitely could be that, you know. It's like, but it's also interesting that you saw them on the highway before the desert, or were they in the desert?
It's like there's like a really green park and then a highway in between the desert
And
the
then just desert. And this snake, do you know where you found it?
it was on the highway, but it was like nearer to the park. That's why I could just take it to the water in the park.
So here's something interesting. It's like you got, you know, barren sand dunes and Sahara Desert, and then you have like luscious oasis with a really green park. And then you have a highway as a border or a buffer between the two. It almost seems like, you know, like the buffer between the two sides of your mind, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, yeah. I just realized that that has to mean something. That definitely means something.
100%.
The fact that it's like a contrast, right?
Yeah. Oh,
The weird thing is that
it could be a bunch of different things too, you know.
right.
But that contrast is significant for
Mhm.
sure.
The
It's
weird thing
interesting
is
that you
that
found. Go ahead.
the snakes were in the like on the border though, which is a weird thing because I feel like the symbolism would be much more significant if the snake was like in the desert and then you took it to the oasis or something, right? But
Yeah, I think that'd be more straightforward. But this, I think you're kind of getting into the gray area.
Mhm.
You know, and then it's like, you know, obviously if you take a biblical Christian perspective, like Adam and Eve come up. Oh, well, here's something. Carl Jung tried to make a connection between earth and heaven, and he believed that snakes mean a representation of the end of a problem. This dream shows the balance between evil and sexuality, which has led most dream interpreters mix dreams with things that are likely to influence the dreamer's sexual power. So it's like you're almost getting your sexual proudness from nurturing into like the green oasis or something like that, from like having a dry streak in the Sahara Desert or something. I don't know, you know, something like that.
right. And maybe the fact that the snake is on like the border or it's closer to the oasis, that might mean that whatever needs to be nurtured, that would come it wouldn't come with a lot of effort. Or
Yeah, it's easier than you think it is.
right. It's just a matter of doing it. And then
Were there a lot of cars on the highway, or was there nobody? Oh yeah, but you weren't worried about the cars.
yeah, I think there were a lot. It wasn't like a traffic jam sort of scenario. Like the cars were going by quickly, but we weren't afraid of getting hit. The weird thing was. So
That's interesting. So like, you know, it was almost like there was almost like, I don't know, like you not transcended, but like, you know, you were above getting hit, like you were almost divine in some sense, you know. I kind of get that impression a little bit, maybe.
yeah, it's like we're kind of invincible in that situation. Like we're not. I don't think there was any anxiety of like dying. There was no fear, definitely. So I think
And who are the
was
friends that you're with?
I think it was two friends from like from high school. I believe I know one of them was an ISTJ who I've been friends with for a long time.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, but I don't know what he represents though. I know there was another person, but I forgot who that person was. It's like sometimes
So
there's
there's-
people there, but you don't remember who they were. So
Yeah, they're just like familiar faces. But does this ISTJ guy kind of like ring any bells? Is he like a good friend or like obviously loyal and dependable, I'd imagine?
yeah, he is a good friend. Recently, we caught up, but that was like after the dream. Uh,
Maybe that was a premonition.
maybe, but I think he shows up in a lot of my dreams as well, just because I spent a lot of time with him in the past. I think it was like a situation of they were we were walking along, and then I was like, oh, I have to go do this. I have to go save the snake, and they were like, okay, like what's he doing? I think it was something like that.
Huh. So it's like you almost have to like, yeah, maybe very much FE nemesis, like I have to go save this and help this like part of me or this power that I have, and nourish it back to life with water, something kind of like that. I don't know. What's everybody else's thoughts on this?
Oh, I just had something. Yeah, Ethan, have you ever had those moments before where you were like questioning what everybody else was thinking, or more specifically, when they said, "Oh, what is he doing?" Have you had those moments before?
Yeah, a lot. I think it's
Yeah.
something that comes up. I mean, I think it's just me being an INFP with FI hero. Like,
Mhm.
it's like one example, like for which was me for a long time was like, oh, we have to recycle. Like, don't just trying to get people to not put the bottle in the trash can when there's like a recycle bin right there. It's stuff like that, and of course, people are like, why do you care about this? But yeah, so I think that's just a pretty common theme in my life, and maybe it's the fact that I've gotten comfortable with it. Maybe because in the dream, I think that was a vibe that I got, but I wasn't concerned about it either. And but in real life, of course, I'd be concerned about it, being TE inferior. So I think that's a good point as well.
Interesting that your is it inhibitions? Your T inferior is just like kind of nulled in your dreams. Like the fear of it. You're kind of like, all right, I'm gonna go and save these snakes. Um, maybe it could be a part of that. I feel like Callum, guys, I think we need to do some sort of dream theory episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
Where we gotta like figure out like what do all these dreams signify, because I get this feeling that a lot of them have something to do with, is it cognitive orbit or is it the battlegrounds or so, because it seems like there's a lot going on with the dreams from the past that we've been noticing, that it's like that seems like the dream signifies. I'm not saying like it was like all signifying this, but it was like there was mostly FE nemesis, but a part of that was TE inferior as well.
Battleground right there. That's the
Yeah.
two sides. That's the difference between the desert and the oasis, I think.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess, That's because
And
I
they're-
mean, yeah.
And their gateway functions too, right?
Yep.
So it's like which gateway are you gonna go to? And it seems like in this dream, Ethan went to his unconscious, his shadow side, to work on his ENFJ side. So that's interesting.
Oh, so you think Oasis was, or it's almost like the highway was a crossroads, and the Oasis
Yeah.
was TE to the ESTJ side, or sorry, the Oasis was FE to the unconscious.
Yeah.
TE was desert. Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
That also makes me think maybe like the fact that we weren't afraid of the cars, because it's like it seemed like a theme that we weren't afraid, right?
Mhm.
And then I'm thinking that might have something to do with just I guess just being invincible to fear, or just that fear is not there, kind of signifying that FE has taken over TE in terms of the battlegrounds. It's like, and then there was like no hesitation when I went over to save the snake, which was like FE taking over TE. So,
And maybe it's not anything that you actually have to worry about.
Right.
Nemesis function.
Or more like it's not something that you have to be afraid of. Right. Or
But wouldn't fear be TE and worry be FE for you?
right. Yeah.
That makes me wonder, is it because you're more comfortable? Are you, Ethan, would you say you're more shadow focused or sub focused?
I'm definitely shadow focused.
Okay. I wonder if it's because, are you maybe more comfortable in your shadow than you are in your subconscious, and that's why you chose that route? And then it's just like, okay, I can save the snake, and then I can work on the subconscious side. Like I need to have like, kind of like how TE users, they have like a checklist of things before they can move on to something else. I don't know if that's something that you do, but it's just like, you got your ego, it's like you figured that out, and it's like you could move into your subconscious, but you decide you're going to go into your unconscious, tackle that first, and then move into your subconscious. I could be wrong, I'm just theorizing. So
let's look up what like a desert means too in dreams. That's going to be really telling.
I think that's a good point. That's probably how I live anyway. Just because I'm unconscious focused, I do actively try to work on my ESTJ side, but it's definitely easier for me to just to slip into my ENFJ side with whatever I'm doing. Like, I think when it comes to doing music, that's probably me going to my ENFJ side more than my ESTJ side, but it's more natural as well. So it does seem like I am prioritizing my unconscious over my subconscious. I mean, that's what being shadow focused is, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that dream reflects it as well. The fact that
was the desert just like what you would expect of like the Sahara Desert with sand dunes, or was it like a desert like somewhere in Nevada where there's cactuses and stuff?
I don't really remember, but I think it was a sand dunes sort of thing.
Okay.
I think there were. I can't remember whether there were buildings or not. It seems like there were buildings, but not a lot. Maybe one or two within view.
Something concrete, maybe, for that ESTJ side. But sand, pretty much, this is saying sand is the symbol of creativity. The God created Adam and Eve with sand, and you had snakes in your dream too. So there's definitely a lot of religious undertone to that dream that you had, for sure. Whether you're a Christian or not, I mean, there's something to this, you know?
Hey, Ethan, are you ever scared of killing your inner child?
Not really. Not
No?
really, because I feel like it's always gonna be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But do you feel like if you were ever to become more subconscious focused, do you think you would kill your inner child?
good question.
That is actually a good question. I don't feel like it. Maybe at least consciously, I don't feel like I'm afraid of killing my inner child. I mean, maybe I just have a lot of faith that it's still gonna be there. Because it's like where I retreat back to, I guess.
Yeah. I know a couple of INFPs that kind of struggle with that. They're like this chick I used to date actually, and this other guy that I used to know. Anyways, they used to be scared of like having their spirits killed. You know what I'm saying? Because they were bummed out at the fact that they had to, I guess, like conform to society, to what society wanted from them. You know, get a job, kill your spirit in a 9-to-5 job. So they kind of suffered from like, what is that syndrome called? The Peter Pan syndrome.
Oh yeah, it's totally INFP world with NI critic too.
Yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
what is the Peter Pan syndrome?
The man child.
Yeah, man children.
Yeah, like the 35-year-old that's still trying to figure it out, and like just starting up a business, and he's been doing that for the last decade.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it's the eternal startup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that kind of
Okay.
rings true though. When you put it in that way, it's like I'm afraid of conforming, definitely. Because I see
Yeah.
it's just anti critic because I see other people, they just choose the easy path. They just choose to get a job or go to
Yeah.
high school. After high school, go to university, get a job. That's just the common route people go. And then I'm definitely afraid
Hmm.
of doing that, even though I am pretty much doing that. It seems like.
It sounds like you're on an NENI orbit there. You're like, I know what everyone else is doing, but I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure there is
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, it's a real feel there. It's like a really valid fear because like imagine giving your 40 years of your life to a job and then you place a value on that job and you make a certain amount each day and then it's only worth a certain amount. And whenever you deconstruct it like that, it's like I can definitely see why it would be anxiety provoking, you know?
Mhm. Right, because it seems so meaningless, right? Because FI Hero is all about finding something that's meaningful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
that makes so much
Um,
sense.
yeah, this is what I tell my like INFP friends. It's like, like find that meaning, find the thing that's like worth dying for,
Mhm.
you
Right,
know?
and maybe that takes an eternal startup to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I can see
look
that.
at Robert Greene. He was like 38 when he was like bouncing around a bunch of jobs 15 years before. He's doing so much random stuff, and then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna write this brilliant book," and then he did, and now he's Robert Greene.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Exactly.
that's what I'm destined to do as well. Because I mean, just seeing that he's an INFP and that's how he I guess he found his meaning. I feel like that's just what I'm gonna do as well, just being an critic. And also I read a book recently called Range. It talks about how the more successful people tend to jump around. And because they have a lot of experience in a wide range of things, that's what gives them uh, the opportunity to be successful in that one thing that they find later on. So I feel like
How does that?
that is going to be my life, but we'll see how it goes.
Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that.
Yeah,
Cool.
anyway,
Ariel, I was gonna mention. I'm actually really glad that you mentioned that, and Callum, I think you're gonna really like where this goes because, um, I actually, as an ESTJ with my INFP as my subconscious, actually have the opposite problem, where it's like I focus on being like more serious and grounded and like make it so I'm not like so
Great.
childish, right? But in my past dreams, all my dreams seem to be indicating that I'm actually trying to tap into that childish INFP side of my mind. So it's kind of funny that the struggle's like opposite between INFPs and ESTJs, where the INFP is afraid of losing the childish side for like a more serious ESTJ side. And then the ESTJ is worried of losing the serious side of their minds towards the childish side. But I think eventually, like as I'll grow older, I will be able to like live a more, I guess, childish lifestyle in a way, while still maintaining like a level of maturity that I've gone from that ESTJ side, which I think INFPs will also find a balance as well. There is that balance in our sides of the minds that I think we can naturally find. So
Here's a thought I just had. I wonder, I wonder if finding that balance is about going into your unconscious mind to try and I don't know how it interrelate between the ego and subconscious, but like I wonder like how that kind of plays into trying to find that balance between those two sides of your mind. Like maybe if you go into your unconscious, like, oh, okay, and bring something in like, like are able to integrate better into your ego, then maybe that balance is a little bit easier. That's like a thought I just had right now.
mhm.
I don't know.
Well, it's interesting that like both Ethan and I identify as shadow focus types, right? So or unconscious focus. So maybe it's because we're like turning towards our shadows. Could be. I could be. Maybe I could or couldn't be in my dreams, but maybe Ethan has been in his dreams. That is our way of just like if we have one side, if we have our egos balanced and then our subconscious or shadow balanced, then maybe we can focus in on our unconscious or sorry, jeez man, so many like different consciousness. Our no, subconscious, jeez man, I'm losing it. And then we can like if we have mastered like two sides, then we can focus in on another side, so we have more confidence going into it. But
Yeah, that could be it.
I don't
You know,
know.
it's like the idea of nirvana or integration, where everything in your ego and unconscious is aligned.
Yeah, and then it's like then the gateway can be opened, and
Yeah, a
the
lot.
floodgates can open.
Yeah, floodgates can open, and it's a much easier transition.
Yeah, don't know.
It's interesting to think about that, though. Huh. Uriel, you look like some godlike figure there.
I know. I was thinking the exact same thing.
Channeling your inner Jesus there, man.
Yeah, I am full INFJ right now, dude.
Yeah.
Man, if I put on the hoodie, I'm just gonna disappear.
That's amazing.
It was an accident, but anyways, yeah, man, I'm out here. I actually have a dream to talk about. And I was thinking about it. As you guys were talking about it, I was trying to figure out what my focus is. Honest, I would say that I'm an ESTP focused, because I don't have trouble asserting myself, and while I still get like performance anxiety or whatnot, I feel that fear, and it's like presses down on me whenever I'm about to speak in front of people, or give like a presentation or whatever. Like I felt it whenever we started the meeting.
Yeah.
But it eventually goes away, because I start to feel comfortable with my own skin, and I'm just kind of like fuck it, I'm just gonna do this. So anyways, yeah, I think I'd say that I'm ESTP focused, but I feel like my unconscious is like calling to me, because number one, I'm probably not where I should be financially. Terrible with money.
Sounds very ESTP-ish.
Yeah. D trickster's a bitch sometimes. I actually have like Zeke told me that he'd help me out. He'll help me like budget stuff out and stuff.
Awesome.
So he's for the win. But anyways, I'm really trying to seek my unconscious right now. I'm trying to seek that, like, I'm literally looking at myself. It feels like I'm looking at myself, and I'm trying to call forth like the Gary Vaynerchuk and the whole like who's that guy from the Wolf of Wall Street?
Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort. So I'm trying to call those guys out of me, and like I'm trying to get over my guilt over like putting myself above everybody else, and like that it's painful. It really is painful. Like,
dude, FI Critic is no joke.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure FI Nemesis is similar. You guys struggle with something similar, but I'm trying to get over that and trying to call out the Jordan Belfort out of me, and actually make some like decent money, But even that, like in the end, isn't gonna be, so I could be like, oh, to say that I'm like rich or whatever. It's honestly like I'm doing it so I can like help family and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
It's just like that's always the ultimate goal. I never want to see family suffer and stuff. So like I just want to make sure that they're in a good place. So I recently had a dream. Okay, so I'm a construction worker, right? And I think that's really helped me develop my subconscious, a ESTP subconscious. I'm not afraid to yell at people and to get assertive. and like I'm not like a little bitch anymore. Literally, I talked to my brother the other day. He's like an ISTP, and he's like, you know, so you're different now. I'm like, oh really? He's like, yeah, you're not a pussy anymore. I'm like, thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I was like, thank you. That means a lot to me, man. Especially coming from you. He's like this like amazing mechanic. He's like he awesome mechanic. But yeah, so construction really helped me figure that figure out my subconscious and like figure out like getting over myself and like getting not being too afraid of like, you know, like you know, I guess like being, I don't want to say being myself, you know, we're all unions here, so you know, using that side of my mind, the subconscious side of my mind, and being a little bit more of a jerk. So now I need to be a little bit more selfish. And so I recently had a dream where I showed up to a construction site. It was a job that we were doing. I showed up on a Monday, um, and everybody there was gone. Like there was nobody there. Um,
Fear of abandonment.
yeah, that too. But yeah, actually, yeah, now that I think about it. So there was nobody there. But something else that I realized was that there's really nothing for me there anymore in construction.
Wow.
It's an awesome job. Um, I get the whole like satisfaction of being able to like, you know, carry like our team forward, um, our crew forward, and like being able to complete tasks and like being able to, you know, complete projects and whatnot. It's great, but there's really no money in it unless you like start a business, and that's probably gonna take a lifetime. To be honest, like most guys don't like really take off when construction like years into it. And honestly, like where
So
I'm at,
in this dream, you just showed up and nobody was there, and then you're okay with it.
yeah. So in the dream, sorry, I keep on like going off. So in
Mhm.
this dream, um, I showed up, there was nobody there, and I didn't. Yeah, I kind of realized actually like today that you know, I there's really no place for me there anymore, you know?
Mm.
Like when I went to go look for everybody, everybody was gone and everybody left or whatever, and I stayed behind. Um,
I mean, it sounds like right up any nemesis, alley. And maybe that's a positive omen because you don't worry other people abandoning you, or when they do abandon you, you're okay with it.
yeah. Honestly, that's like
That's really what that says right there.
yeah. Oh, pure abandonment sucks. I've been abandoned before. You know, I get like I start shaking and stuff. It's terrible. So, but this was when I was younger. You know, I'm 25 now, mind you. I'm turning 26 next month, actually. And so I think I've come a long way from that.
Cool.
I think construction has really helped me develop my even like my nemesis function. It's helped me develop my inferior. It's helped me develop my parent function. It's helped me develop my ESTP side in general. You know,
Mhm.
I can like this is also why I thought I was like an ENTP. You know, I like felt that it was mostly because I thought I was like full TI parent or whatever. But I'm pretty sure I just had like some kind of like TI child god complex because I know I can be pretty like arrogant sometimes. But yeah, but like I said, I think it served its purpose. Oh shit! My fucking computer turned off.
So wait, Uriel, was it like a realization that you had in the dream when you realized that, oh, construction isn't for me?
Hold on, guys. Let me give me my charger. My computer's about to die.
Cool.
Give me a second.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give kind of I've done ISTP focused work. I've worked in construction. It's definitely healthy for NFJs to do that. I think Jay worked in the other INFJ on this channel worked in construction at one point. It's I don't know. I think every NFJ should do it for a little while for sure, or just something mechanical and hands-on.
It's okay, just to develop the subconscious, right?
Yeah, and it's so much fun, you know. You just get to fuck around with tools and build shit and yell and do crazy stuff like stand on roofs with like 20-pound or 50-pound boards. And your risk tolerance goes through the roof. You're just like, oh, I'm on a roof, whatever.
Right.
Ariel, I was telling everyone that like I've done ISTP focused work. I've worked in construction. I did it recently for 6 months with Habitat for Humanity, and it was so much fun.
Hey, can you guys see me? My like computer's messing up.
You're
Yeah.
good, Ariel.
Okay, I can't see y'all, but whatever. I'll make it work. Okay, so yeah, basically, I think the dream was pretty short and simple, to be honest. You know, finisher
point.
type for the win. I mean, it was telling me what it had to, and I think I'm quitting my job today. I went and bought a computer. I'm gonna start doing like HTML and web developing and whatnot.
Right on, man.
You know, and like do something that I'm actually good at. And like I actually literally felt guilty about doing something that I'm good at, because I felt like it was too easy, you know, and like construction was the best place for me, because you know I would self-deprecate and whatnot, and it would be a cycle. I'd be like, you know, this is where I should be, you know, because like this is where you can get like a lot of growth, but maybe I should really like look to, you know, make some money and like do something that I'm good at, and so do something that's easy for me, you know.
So wait, but it was inside your dream that you realized that construction wasn't for you?
No. I just had the dream like randomly, and I've been thinking about it for the past like 2 weeks, I think.
The
Ever
dream
since-
spurred on the thought, you know, and
Right.
conscious waking life. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. It pretty much like it started the little germ, and then you know the little germ turns into, it's like a rolling snowball effect, you know.
I've had those recently.
Yeah. And so it just like until I get to something like big, you know.
Right. Yeah, because or at least my thought was, if it was during the dream that you realized, that might have been FI critic, just going like, oh, is this valuable anymore? So
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
maybe.
very NEFI focused dream you had there.
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell myself, like, you know, like, who cares about your feelings, man? It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Whenever I'm in like not such a great place, you know?
Right. Sometimes it does, right? And it's like you came to that, right? You came to the point of listening to your value judgments about construction and saying, oh yeah, it's probably not valuable to me anymore. So, and then you moved on, right?
100%.
There we go.
You know what you want too. You know, it sounds like you want to do HTML, web development type stuff now.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to think about it some more, but that's what I
Yeah,
have
by all
now.
means, man. This is the whole point of this, you know, is to just like see what thoughts how part of it is at least seeing how these dreams connect to stuff going on in our waking life, right? It's like it's not trivial. Like there's definitely something to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's like anytime I have a dream, it's like there's like a crisis or something going on, you know?
Yeah.
There's always something going on, and I'll dream about it, and then like it's like it's like my unconscious is like trying to tell me something, you know? It's like it's okay, you can feel this way, or you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
You know, I with FI Nemesis, I typically sometimes have dreams where it's like, am I doing the right thing here? You know, and they're in like, I think it's like an FEFI orbit. And I'm like, am I doing the right social thing? Like, how should I feel about this? You know, and I'm always trying to like work through it because I never know how I'm worried too much about how I should feel, and I have to get like feedback. I don't know. It's just this weird weird thing. And I have so many dreams like that. It's over like communication issues,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually had a pastor. Well, I used to go to this like Pentecostal church,
Mhm.
and my pastor was an ENFJ,
Sweet.
and he kind of reminds me of well, you kind of remind me of him.
I mean, being a priest at a church is very par for the course with the NFJ men.
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you do it?
Yeah, right. Oh, maybe someday. I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. Interesting stuff here. All right. I mean, I'm pretty much set from my end. I don't know if you have anything you want to share. It sounds like you didn't have a dream.
No, I didn't have anything like significant, which I kind of feel like it's not a bad thing because like all the dreams I've
Definitely
had
not.
are like quite random. So like nothing has anything of a reoccurring theme to them.
At least not yet.
Yeah, exactly. So but maybe like the only thing I could say is just like, okay, some NHL famous people, but that's about it. Like that's hardly anything. I don't feel like it's telling much of anything. But yeah, maybe I'll find out tonight if I have something that's reoccurring. So
Sweet.
we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll have to save it till next episode then.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, guys, hit the like button so we can get in the algorithms, and make sure to subscribe, and leave a comment down in the comment section about your dream. We'd love to take a look at them. Cool.